Namah Narayan Amalila.
Namah Narayan Devatma, and I
Good.
would like to talk with you about Maha Shivaratri.
Yes, so this is a very important day for yogis and a very important day for sadhakas. A sadhaka is a person who does not only yoga practice, but does yoga sadhana, meaning yoga for spiritual elevation, for spiritual, as a spiritual discipline. Because the Adi yogi, the first yogi, is of course Lord Shiva. And we have Lord Shiva as the first guru of yoga. So on this day, we like to do our yoga practices, whatever they are, to set aside a whole day of the year just to practice yoga and your meditation, or to chant your mantra, and to have a day for specifically your sadhana.
Great, yeah. And you also seeing you're sitting on the river, the Ganga in India, and that's the sacred river in India. And can you tell me what Shivaratri, what the words are meaning?
Maha Shivaratri is a combination of the Sanskrit words Maha, meaning great. Shiva, of course, we know is Shiva, the Lord of destruction, the Lord of disillusion, basically, and the Adi Yogi Guru, the first primal teacher of yoga, perhaps corresponding to the first fully enlightened man, and the teacher of the path of yoga as a spiritual discipline, as a sadhana. And Ratri means night. So this is the night of Shiva. And during this night of Shiva, we like to, for example, to chant the Panchakshara mantra, the 5-syllabled mantra, the great five-syllabled mantra of Shiva, which is
Om Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya. Yes. And chanting Om Namah Shivaya gives such great joy and strength and reassurance, and it's like you're increasing that spiritual flame from within yourself every time you say Om Namah Shivaya. And especially on this day, this night of Shiva. And every time that you say Om Namah Shivaya on this day, it is 1,000 times more powerful. So you can do your japa, your mantra every day, and maybe you do 108 mantras every day. But when it's Maha Shivaratri, you do your 108 mantras in the morning or at night, and it's like doing 108,000. And the rewards of this are, they sound so lofty and like you're promising so much, but I urge anybody listening to this just to try it for yourself. To chant Om Namah Shivaya, 2 or 3 malas. A mala is a tool for meditation, 108 beads on it. So, and then there's the 109th bead is called the Meru bead or the Guru bead, and it helps you to count how many cycles you've done. So for example, 3 malas should take you about 15 minutes, depends on how you do it. But give it a try. Try doing this mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, during Maha Shivaratri for even just 1 mala. And you will see for yourself.
Yeah, and here you also see Shiva. And here there's also Shiva Linga. And what is the meaning here in the puja?
So the Shiva Linga is perfectly round and therefore it represents dimensionlessness, right? So all of the different geometric forms we have are the different shapes and forms of within duality. But how do you symbolize the non-dual, the spiritual level? What kind of physical representative can we have to focus our devotion on that non-dual highest reality? That is what the Shiva Linga represents. It represents that pure consciousness element because it has no dimensions. It's perfectly round, has no sides, so it's considered dimensionless. And so it represents that, and it actually does have an energy field to it as well, similar to, for example, pyramids, pyramid energy, the Meru Shri Chakra, and different three-dimensional forms of different yantras also create an energy field around them. And the Shiva Linga also creates a tremendous energy field around it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is representing the Shiva element, pure consciousness, pure spirit.
Yeah. And can you tell me a bit about the significance of Maha Shivaratri?
Yes, so this is considered the most auspicious night of the year for removing your bad karmas, for attaining moksha, liberation from the cycles of birth and death, for purifying past sins, bad karmas basically. And so during this day, by chanting Om Namah Shivaya, you are deepening your meditation, you're purifying the psyche, you're purifying the samskaras, the latent impressions in the psyche. Because this mantra has so much Shakti, so much power. There's something called mantra Shakti, and every single mantra has mantra Shakti, a certain power to it. And when you chant the mantra over time, that Shakti builds up within your subtle body. And so the mantra Shakti at this time is so powerful because it's global, because we have a certain amount of people who are all chanting at the same time, not only in India, but now all around the world. There are not only Indians all over the world at this stage, but there's also yoga practitioners and yogis all over the world who are celebrating Maha Shivaratri as well. And so you also come into alignment with this energy. And it's a chance for you to align yourself with the Shiva Tattva, to align yourself with the Shiva element, that the element of yoga, which is all about union between the lower self and the highest self, of spiritual union and realizing your eternal truth as that pure bliss of consciousness, of pure consciousness. Shiva is that pure consciousness. And mantra literally means to tune the mind. And so when you chant a mantra, you're tuning the mind to a certain frequency, and that is a certain frequency of the divine. All mantras are a certain frequency of the divine, and they help to awaken your own inner Shakti, the Kundalini. So it's a very important opportunity to tune into the energy of Shiva, the energy of yoga, and to attune your mind to that frequency. So yes, we are going to start doing an annual celebration of Maha Shivaratri. And this will be an opportunity to be able to gather together as a global community and to do sadhana together. And to be able to do spiritual practice together for the refinement of our soul, to be able to purify the psyche, to liberate the soul from the ego mind, to be able to experience some spiritual bliss, to tune yourself into that frequency. And it's important that we have certain events every year, that the purpose is just for that. Because we have so many courses at Tripura Yoga, and we love exploring different intellectual paths. But what's most important is for you to have your own direct personal experience. And for that, we have to practice, and we need a technique and a method. And the best method, according to Tantra, especially the various schools of Shakti Tantra and Shiva Tantra, is a mantra. Because a mantra you receive from somebody else who received it from another. And it goes all the way back to Shiva. And this energy of Shiva is being passed down in lineages, in generations. And all these different yoga lineages are actually coming from Shiva. And so when we become initiated, we are becoming this generation of Shiva. And we utilize a mantra, because how are you going to affect that deepest layer of your being, right? We have so many different practices for the physical body, the asanas and the shatkarmas. We have so many practices for the pranamaya koja, for the pranic body. We have the pranayams, for example. We have practices for manomaya koja, for the mind, such as the different meditations, the dharanas. But how are you going to reach vijnanamaya koja? How are you going to reach anandamaya koja? How are you going to reach those deepest levels of your being, the psyche and pure bliss beyond even the psyche? For that, we need to rely on the most basic components of reality, of material reality, which is sound and light. And so we use a mantra and a yantra. And this is allowing you to penetrate into the deepest levels of your being. So we are going to be using the mantra Om Namah Shivaya on Maha Shivaratri together as a community.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Devatma. And yeah, meditation is very important. Yeah, that what you're saying, you're getting that mantra, but then it's up to yourself how you give that meaning in your own life. And meditation there, I thought, yeah, in nature and just sitting in silence, yeah, is very important for everybody, I think.
Yes, no doubt. And most people are intimidated by meditation. And even if they want to meditate, maybe they don't even know where to begin. And that's why receiving a mantra can be really helpful, because along with that mantra, you're also receiving the mantra Shakti. And that mantra Shakti will spontaneously begin to take effect within the subtle body. It'll start to awaken the chakras. It'll start to activate and open your heart. And you'll want to just naturally enjoy inner silence and bliss and serenity and tranquility. And that serenity and tranquility will become more spontaneously. And you'll be able to just sit and meditate for maybe sometimes just 5 minutes, and other times maybe 2 hours or 3 hours, and not have to try to have a technique. You're just witnessing the tremendous bliss that is unfolding in your heart. Just being a witness to that beauty, that beautiful experience of the Shakti rising like the morning sun, and those beautiful morning red rays illumining your heart. And you just want to just hold that experience. And a minute turns into 10 minutes, which turns into an hour. And this bliss just keeps coming. And you are inspired then more to chant your mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. But it's really quite beautiful, because mantra initiation allows you to have a glimpse or a taste of what the goal is, what the destination is. And that's very important, because otherwise you can be like the blind leading the blind. You don't really know what you're going for. Somebody has to have a direct personal experience of the ultimate destination. And when you receive a mantra during initiation, you have your own experience of that. You have an experience of the ultimate on your own. And this allows you now to know where we are going, what we're working towards. It's as if you had somebody who had been sick their whole life, if you could just give them a brief moment of total wellness and perfect health and homeostasis, just for a moment. So that now when they go back into their illness, they know where they're trying to get back to. And this is one really beautiful component of receiving a mantra that carries the Shakti of a lineage of yogis. And the efforts and they have put into it, their own sadhana is there in the mantra when you receive it from another who has received it from that lineage. And that spark, so I see it as being like a spark. Then I'm going to give you a spark, or somebody else is going to give you a spark. And you can take that spark and you can fan it into a flame, and you can fan those flames into a raging, roaring fire. Mm-hmm. And karmically, we're all going to receive the Shakti different, which is why it's best to have no expectations, but to participate fully. Because the more that you surrender, the more you're going to receive. Because it's actually not a matter of anybody giving you anything as much as you drawing it from them. Mm-hmm. The devotee draws the Shakti from the object of devotion. Even if somebody does not want to give it, their devotion draws it from them. So what's most important is your heart, where your heart is at. If you really want to receive the Shakti and you really want to ignite your heart and to begin spiritual life and to awaken Sri Kundalini Shakti and to begin to walk this path of yoga to awakening to your eternal self, then receiving a mantra is extremely important for you and can definitely be of great benefit. You can still do yoga without receiving mantra, and you can derive wonderful benefits from every yogic practice, and it can enrich your life in so many more ways than you could ever imagine. Hatha yoga, Kriya yoga, Raja yoga, the Shatkarms, all of it. But for spiritual life, and for that spiritual metamorphosis to begin, we need to have initiation, awakening. Somebody else has to come along and start up your engines.
Yeah. Now, we can join you, Devatma, on the 1st of March. And I will be there. So that's so great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for explaining. Yeah. So I now have some understanding of it. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Atma Lila. It's always a tremendous joy.
Yeah.